Merry bloody Christmas, everybody. I hope you're having a lovely time. I hope you're also staying safe because the world we live in right now is not great. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about films. Today, I wanted to have a fireside chat without the fire or the side, really, about just some of my favorite films. And what made the cut, what didn't make the cuts, and yeah, let's just have a chill time. I feel like I'm that teacher that like brings in a VCR TV at the end of the year and just clicks play and makes you watch like Jurassic Park or something because they can't be bothered to do a lesson properly. So let's jump into it. This year has been excellent for film because of the past sort of year and a bit where we've just had a lack of film coming out. We've had a lot this year. We've had a lot of big stuff too, which is all more surprising that Netflix have been coming out with hit after hit of just amazing sort of Netflix independent films. So let's talk about it, shall we? So let's get the elephant out of the room first. Dune is not my favourite film of the year. It should be. I should absolutely love it because it's sci-fi and it's gritty and it's dirty. Visually, it looks amazing. And it has a cast of just everybody in it, but it just didn't like click in my brain that I really liked it. It was good, don't get me wrong, and well done to everybody involved because it was an absolute marvel to look at. But two things made it not great for me. One, it's like almost 3 hours long, and no film should be 3 hours long. And that's not a millennial or whatever saying like, the attention span, TikTok has ruined it. It's just 3 hours is too long. 3 hours is too long for a film to be. And secondly, the way it uses exposition is just lazy. It is literally telling the audience everything they need to know. This is a sandworm. It will kill you. It is huge and has teeth that's made out of sand or whatever. We didn't need to know all that. You could have just shown us the big sandworm and it kill something and we'd be like, whoa, that's scary. It probably would have been better and more enjoyable to look at. So that was just the one thing that really annoyed me, is that they literally had this robot that walked around and told you what things were. And that just really annoyed me and just made it less enjoyable to watch. I definitely think the second part is where my love for this is going to bloom, because now we know how the world works and how everything is going. It's just, I think the second part is where it will flourish. Whilst we're on the big battle movies, let's talk about all the Marvel stuff that came out this year. We've had quite a few. We've had Black Widow, we've had Shang-Chi, we've had, of course, Spider-Man, and also the Eternals, which I didn't get to see, so I cannot have opinion on it. First of all, Black Widow was really enjoying. It was annoying that it didn't come out when it's supposed to. If it did, it would have been even better. But because we know how it ends, how the character, where they go and how they change, it didn't really... It was enjoyable, but it didn't really help us understand anything more of the Marvel universe. Shang-Chi was absolutely excellent. The acting was superb, and the writing and the way that they are branching out and creating new kinds of superhero films is exciting. I just wish they committed a bit more in the ending, the final battle that was a big CGI fest. It could have been something a bit more simple. It could have been a bit more subtle. It could have been something different. But overall, it was a very good film. Eternals, again, I haven't seen, but Spider-Man was absolutely excellent. It was great, and I really enjoyed it. The writing in places wasn't great, but the way they tangled everything together, they made everything make sense, and just the shock factor of this film is amazing. And I cannot say any more because you got to go see it and you'll know what I mean. Just know that the acting is really good. Keeping the tone of sequels and sci-fi, Ghostbusters Afterlife came out this year, and I have seen it 3 times in the cinema, and it's really good. It is my second favorite film of the year. It's really good. It was lovely the way it was shot. Jason Reitman, as a director, knows how to use the camera to tell stories. He uses every part of the camera. A simple focus rack is used to tell story. It's used as a camera movement, either to tell story or to keep the viewer entertained. and that's like sort of like genius because not a lot of people do that. Yeah, I thought it was just really good, and like the middle act of that film is superb, and I would just buy, if just that alone convinced me that it was just a really good film. So well done. Oh, and the acting, specifically like the kids in it, McKenna Grace and the person that plays podcast in it, are superb, and their future is very bright. Towards the end of the year, we got Tick Tick Boom, which was excellent. It was really good. Andrew Garfield can sing really well. The story, specifically to me and this channel, is very relatable. It hits home really hard. The fact that you just have to write something, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, and then write the next one if it doesn't. Yeah, like the ending did make me cry. It's a very good film. The reason why it's not my favorite film of the year is because the soundtrack is not. There's a few skips on the soundtrack, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not, like, and plus, like, it's not written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. For a directorial debut from Lin-Manuel Miranda, it's very good, and I cannot wait to see what he makes next. But just the soundtrack, sort of, I didn't like it as much. There's a few songs that I really did like. The rest, I sort of wouldn't listen to. So that's just, like, personally why it's not my favorite film of the year. But whilst we are on the subject of Lin, let's get In the Heights out of the way. It was a superb film. I saw it twice in the movie theater, and then I've also seen it on Blu-ray, and it is very, very good. It is, again, close to being my top film of the year. It is lovely. It's heartwarming. The visuals and the music are superb. The music hits every beat. There is pretty much no skips on the soundtrack for this film, and the acting is great. They sidelined some of the characters that I cared about more, but that's fine because it's a film. It's not the show, so you've got to focus on like certain characters because you've only got like, how long is this film? Like 2 hours. You've only got those 2 hours to explore this story, so they sort of just cherry picked some of the best ones, and they did a really good job. The first 9-minute opener is superb, and like I know it off by heart. So it's pretty good. From the party central city of New York, let's jump into the horrible and dull city of London with Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's second film of this year, which was really good. As someone who doesn't like horror, I surprisingly liked this a lot. It sort of eased me in to the idea of watching a horror film. And this film was confusing because the visuals were really good, but the story sort of is confusing. It doesn't make its mind up of what the message is of who we're meant to be rooting for. I can't say much else without spoiling it, but yeah, it just needs to know where it's going and who is is it quote-unquote protagonist? Is that what we're going? Maybe not. I think it's like, it needs to make its mind up if we are meant to dislike or like the antagonist in this film, basically. But I am proud of Edgar for this movie for making it not very Edgar Wrighty. He has proven that he isn't Mr. Whip Pan and like somebody walks past frame and it like transitions. There's hardly any of that in this film, and I'm like very proud of Edgar Wright for like knowing when to tone it down, when to escape this box that he's put himself in. And for that reason, it is a very good film. But it isn't my film of the year. Another film that I was stupidly excited for, but then slowly lost excitement for when I saw it, was The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson's latest flick about a French newspaper, well, American newspaper technically, based in France, that just shows little stories, some little like independent, cute little stories about France, and it was good. It was a good film. Annoyingly, the editing was just incoherent. It made the film hard to follow. Also, there wasn't enough Owen Wilson in the film. He was in like the first like 10 minutes, and we never saw him again. Yeah, it was really good. Like some of the stories they told, specifically the end story, was really good. And the first story of Owen Wilson, of course, but the middle story with Timothée Chalamet, it didn't work for me. Simply because I think also that one was the most incoherent in its editing. For some reason, it was color, and then it was black and white, and then it was color again, and then it was black and white. It's like, I don't know if this is meant to signify that we're going back in the past, Or are you just doing this for no reason at all? And which, if that is the answer, why are you doing it? That's not very Wes Anderson of you, really. Because Wes Anderson does everything for a reason. And this didn't feel like it. So, let's finish this video with a couple of westerns, and 2 Netflix westerns, might I add. Let's start with The Power of the Dog, because this is not my favourite film of the year. It's not even really up there, but it is a very good film. It's an odd film, because whilst nothing really happens event-wise in the film, all the events happen within the characters and their interactions and their development, which is really interesting. And I want to watch it again to see how they pulled it off, just because I don't think I was paying enough attention. But this film is really good, and the concepts that they explore, the idea of toxic masculinity, but in the Western and cowboy sort of era, is really interesting and is such a great idea. And I would love to see people explore this in different sort of time eras. Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch is also, he plays that character really well. He plays the toxic, you must be a man, but he doesn't play it in like the way that you would expect him to play it. He's not a bully. He's just someone with these opinions, which is super interesting. And finally, my film of 2021 is The Harder They Fall. The Harder They Fall is really good. It is super good. I was recommended it, and then I watched it, and I was like, this is really good. It's a different kind of Western. And as much as I do love the gritty, that, you know, the color grade that every Western has nowadays, it is that sort of like the deserty, deep blacks, well, they're not even that deep, actually. They're actually quite grey, and like it's a very dirty looking image. The Harder They Fall is clean. It is super clean. All of the outfits, the costumes, and the set decoration, and the action, and how the color grading is, it is clean. And that's I've never seen that before in a Western. The acting, of course, this has been the year for Jonathan Majors. I feel like he is such a good actor, and the choreography, especially as well, is also very good with how the action is shot, and how the final battle, if you could call it that, like the final set piece, we'll say, is so like clunky in a way that it is, but like in a good clunky, like. It's how a real Western would feel like. It's not like The Magnificent Seven, how in that end set piece, everything is like perfectly choreographed and everyone's shooting and every shot lands. No, it's dirt. It's in this way, it is dirty, and it's real is a good word to use. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and it is really excellent. The cast just blows it out of the park. And I will be watching it again before the end of this year, because it is just excellent. So that's a list of some of my favourite films that have come out this year. What did you enjoy this year? Please comment it down below, because I'm always open to suggestions. I now own Netflix, so I have like unlimited things to watch now, which is amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for watching all of my content this year. We hit 200 subscribers, which is amazing. I never thought I would do that, to be honest with you. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope your Christmas is lovely, and I'll try and get some more videos out before the end of the year, but who knows? The world is kind of crazy right now, so maybe I might just go to sleep for a couple of years. Right, thank you guys, stay safe, and can you do one more thing? Can you have a great day? Thank you.